Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Hans. This is FSN. Today we are doing the first of many First Looks. First Looks are going to be a series that we do regarding features that have just launched in FSN or possibly a feature that we have had for a while that's just gotten a major upgrade. This will be one of the types of series that we put out videos for to give you kind of a first glance at things, at what's new or what has changed. We will be doing tutorial videos that will go into more details about these features as well, so keep an eye out for those. So, what are we talking about today? Well, today we're going to be talking about resource acquisition. Now, resource acquisition, what does that mean? Well, it means gathering of anything, but in FSN, in the meta, which is through the website, we currently have just released the ability to do mining and lumber work for timber. And so we're going to show you how to get land for these, and then how to prospect that land to find out what you have on it, and then how to work that land. We'll just be kind of walking through the stages of it. We're not going to actually go through the whole process. We're just going to show you some of the features, and then in a later tutorial video, we will go over those things. So the first thing you need to do is sign in or sign up. FarmSimulator.network. We'd be happy to have you if you aren't already with us. And if you are, then you know where you're going. So once you're signed in, you're going to want to go to Market and Global Market. From this page, you're going to want to click Land. And here you'll see listings of available different property types: residential, agricultural, commercial, industrial, and resource. These different plot types have different purposes. For the purpose of this video, though, we're only going to talk about resource land. Now, I do believe I have one set up here, so let's look. Yes, and here we have a 4-acre resource plot in Athens, Greece. So we're going to snatch this up. They're a pretty hot item right now, so I don't want somebody else to snag it. Simple as this, as long as you got the funds, you hit the button and you get the land. Now, to view that land, you're going to head over to Meta Properties. As you know, we bought the land in Greece, so we're going to scroll down until we find Greece. There it is right there. And as you can see, we have 4 available of 4 total acres of resource land. So we bought 4 acres and we haven't used any of them yet. So if we click that, that takes us into our resource overview, okay? This is for any resource plots that we have in Athens, Greece. Currently, we don't have anything going on here. However, if you look at this menu, we have the option to prospect. Prospecting costs $10,000 per acre, and it takes about 6 hours to prospect that land. So for the sake of this video, we're going to do it all in one shebang. We're going to click on the 4 acres, hit prospect, and as you see, it is now prospecting until 3/1 at 7:27 at night, which is about 24 hours from right now. We're going to do some video magic and take you over to another site that's already opened. However, what happens is once this prospecting is finished, you will be able to see what's there. It could be nothing, it could be some kind of timber resource, or it'll be some kind of mineral that can be mined. And based on what it is, we'll determine what you can do with it next. If it has nothing on it, there's not much you can do with it right now. If it has timber, you can do a logging operation, and if it has minerals, you can do a mining operation. So we're briefly going to look at what each of those looks like and how it works and what you can do with those. So we went over to Sydney, Australia here, where we have a couple of test plots. We have a timber hickory plot of 5 acres, a bauxite mine of 8 acres, and a clay mine of 2 acres. Okay, so from these we can do different things. One of the options you'll see here that isn't quite available yet, but people that are in the game will know it's coming, is being able to sell these. So once you prospect them, if you find out, maybe it's not worth it for me, or maybe I don't have the equipment or the money to get the equipment for this right now, you can sell those plots. So that is an option that is coming in the very near future, and that's what we've done with this bauxite mine. So as you can see, it takes away our other options. Now, let's go ahead and look at the timber operation so we can see how that looks. Okay, so now we're looking at the timber site, which is Hickory in Sydney, Australia. And we're just going to briefly talk about what this screen says. So up top, it shows what it is. It shows how much of that resource is remaining there. It shows the remoteness factor, which is a way that we represent how hard it is to get to your timber or mining site. The higher the number, the harder it is to get there, and therefore the harder it's going to be to extract things, and the longer it's going to take to ship things in and out of there. All right. Below that, you have brush cleared, wood that's been processed, stumps that need to be grinded, and wood that's awaiting shipment. Okay. Now, there are a couple fields missing from here that I will cover in the tutorial video. If you are above a level 3, so if you're a 4 or above, you'll have some additional fields because you require some additional equipment because of how remote the site will be. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a later video. I do have the equipment here on this site, but for the purpose of this video, we're just giving a brief walkthrough. So as you can see, there's a lot of different types of equipment here. We try to keep it, we want to have it realistic, but still make it approachable. And so we have things like delimbers, feller bunchers, log harvesters, log loaders, mulchers, stump grinders, and yarders. All of these pieces of equipment play a certain role. Some of them can kind of overlap in roles, and that's what we'll talk about in the tutorial version of this video. However, for the sake of this video, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. It shows you what it is, how many work hours it has, what the fuel capacity and remaining is, what you want it to do, and you can tell it to do it, or if it is doing something, you can stop it from doing that thing. Okay, and as it's doing those operations, it's making these numbers change up here, which is them harvesting and working that land for you. Now down below you see this thing that says logistics. What is that for? Well, for those of you who don't know FSN, we actually have a logistics system that is being built in tandem with the resource acquisition system. Right now, there are semis in. There's more things coming like sprinters, box trucks, trains, planes, ships, you name it, they're all coming. But right now we have semis, and you can actually send your semis to these sites to load up these materials that you're gathering and ship them off to a market to sell them on the global market to other players, to NPCs, to traders, etc. So I don't have any semis sent here. However, I do have some semis at another site. So we're going to go ahead and check out the other type of site, which is a mine. Okay, so we're going to go back in now and we're going to check out the clay mine. All right, so if you look in here, it looks like we've been digging the clay for a little while now. We've gotten about 2,000 of it extracted, a little over 2,000. It's the same remoteness factor as our timber stand was. And as you can see, we actually have a lot of material here, including quite a bit awaiting shipment. So as you can see, when one of these fills up, that means that we're wasting fuel on things. So these guys are trying to do stuff. We're trying to load the processor here, but it's already overloaded. It's not going to take anymore, so this guy's just burning fuel. We'll talk about that kind of stuff more in the tutorial, but the long and short is these are moving, living, breathing operations that you actually have to monitor and make sure that things are working the way they should. So we actually need to get some of this loaded onto a truck, and I think, as I said before, we do have some logistics vehicles here. So let's scroll down and take a look. Yes, we do. So we actually have 4 trucks here, and it's actually a great example because we have some different things going on here. We have 2 trucks here that have hopper trailers. These are used to load the clay out of the site. Okay. We have 1 lowboy trailer here, which is actually used to move equipment, and we have 1 tanker trailer here, which is supplying fuel to the site. Okay, so all of that is possible in this world, and there's even more stuff coming. It's a lot of fun. It's in very early stages, but it's already a hoot to play with. I wish I had more time than just testing to be able to play it. So we want to get a truck loaded. So how do we get a truck loaded? Well, we need to assign a wheel loader to start loading. In fact, we're going to assign both wheel loaders to start loading because we got a lot of material sitting around waiting to go out. If you look up here, this is the pile that's awaiting shipment. I'm not going to go into details on the whole process here, but I'm just going to briefly show you, and we'll do a quick time lapse to show you the material actually moved into the trucks a little bit. So, and actually a great example here, this one is about out of fuel. So on the next site tick, you're going to see this refill with fuel. It's going to take fuel out of this fuel pump here, okay, which is the on-site fuel pump. And then this semi is actually overloading fuel into this pump as it needs it, okay? And so the idea is that you don't have to keep the semi here as long as you have fuel in the pump. But if you don't have the semi and you don't have a pump on site, then you're going to be paying the at market price for fuel, which is very expensive at $5 a liter. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this idle. We're going to select load trucks. And we're going to do the same thing down here for this Komatsu. Okay, so now we've got them both loading these trucks, and we're going to idle everything else out because, like I said, all our piles are kind of full right now, so no point in burning the fuel. Okay, so there we go. We've got everything idled out except for the wheel loaders who are going to be loading these trucks over the next couple minutes. Now, let me just briefly show you how the lowboy works. So, as you can see, we have several idle things on the site now. You can actually select any idle item from the site, okay, and you can load it onto the truck. So, for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you guys. It's really straightforward. It's not hard. We're going to load the excavator since it's not doing anything for the next couple hours. So just like that, we hit load, and as you can see, it is now loading that Cat 326 excavator. It shows the registration number for that vehicle so that we can track it, and it shows how many work hours are on that vehicle. And it shows that it is loading cargo for about the next hour. It takes an hour to get it loaded up, strapped down, everything like that. So once it's loaded, you can hit this unload button and unload the cargo on site, or you can actually ship it to another site somewhere. So as you can see, it gives you a great variety of things that you can do here. Same for our fuel. Let's go ahead and send this fuel truck out, and then you'll actually see this go down. Because with the fuel truck here, he's going to reload this every time it empties, and you're going to see this number go down. But let's send the fuel truck away. So when we send anything out, it heads back to the main city that this mine is nearest. Okay, so we're going to send this out. So as you can see, we now have these two trucks are sitting waiting to be loaded. This one is now loading the excavator, and this one is outbound with a shipment of, well, about half a tank of fuel. So in the tutorial video, we'll actually go through the process of how do you fill a tanker up, how do you bring it back, all that kind of stuff. So, but for the sake of this video, we're going to just do a little bit of time magic here and show you that this wheel loader runs out of fuel but gets refueled from the fuel tank to half a tank. And we should see this number go down, the awaiting shipment number, because these two wheel loaders are going to be taking that pile and moving it into these trucks. And the one thing that I'll mention that I haven't yet is you'll notice this is in cubic meters or metric tons, okay? And these trucks are in liter capacity. So right now at this stage of development, which is very early with this system, 1,000 liters is 1 metric ton or 1 cubic meter. So if they load 60 cubic meters, that loads this truck to 60,000 liters. So it does the math for you. You don't have to remember it. I'm just mentioning it so you guys can understand why there's only 600 up top, but it fills 60,000 at the bottom. So we'll just give this a minute. So let's take a quick second here and talk about land in the FSN meta, which is through the website. There's land available all over the world, and it's zoned to different types, whether that's residential, commercial, industrial, or resource. These different types can have different types of buildings on them. Agricultural, for example, is used for farmlands, ranches, horses, cows, things like that. Commercial is used for retail spaces and service facilities, and industrial is used for manufacturing facilities. And then, of course, resources are used to gather raw resources. So you can buy property in any country around the world as long as there's a listing available and you have the funds and it's not restricted. There are some restrictions in to help new people out, like first-time buyers, where nobody can bid on those or buy those unless they're a first-time buyer, to get into Meadowland and give them a chance at some nice plots here and there. There's a lot you can do with them, and not only can you buy land from the governments of these countries when it comes available, you as a player can also resell land, and very soon in the future you will be able to sell facilities. And up here is an area that's not in yet. As you can see, this is a pit mine in Sydney, Australia. It is 8 acres in size, and it's a bauxite mine. There's 160,000 metric tons of pay dirt remaining, and it's being offered by the Reindeer Testing Company. So this is what a listing will look like for a prospected resource plot in the near future when I release that, and there will of course be purchasing options. One fun thing we will be doing as well with resource plots is sellers will have the option of doing leases in which they say, I'm going to lease it to you for a period of 30, 60, 90 days. And in exchange for the lease, you're going to pay this much up front, and I'm going to get X% of the pay dirt that comes out of there. So maybe I'm a landholder. I don't really have the time to work on mine right now, but I'd like to start getting some money back out of my investment. I could say, you're going to pay me $50,000 up front, and I want 10% of the ore that you mine out of it over the next 30 days, and you need to mine a minimum of 10% of the mine in those 30 days. So somebody can look at that, find out if those terms are agreeable, and if they do, then you have a great deal. One guy has found a mine to work, and another guy is getting some profit for land he wasn't using. So a lot of fun options coming available with that. Okay, a couple minutes have passed and it's went to its next cycle, and we can see what has happened here. This was down to 3 liters of fuel. It has refueled to about half a tank, 144 liters. It is loading trucks currently. This one has started loading trucks, and as you see, it's got 0.17 work hours, so it's just did its first bit of work. It was brand new, sitting from off the lot, just got dropped off at the mine and started working. And this one has went through a few liters of fuel in its first quarter hour of working. As you look below here, you can see the fuel pump has now used fuel, and since the fuel tanker was not on site with the semi, it did not refuel the pump because there's no fuel to give it. So this will slowly drain this, and if this gets empty and I don't bring in new fuel, I will pay fuel at the full market price of $5 a liter. Compare that to about the $1.80 per liter I can get it at the gas stations currently, and it's a big difference. This big difference is to simulate both the fact that you have it automated and don't have to worry about it, and to simulate the fact that you're not in town. You are out at a remote mining site or lumber site. Okay, so if we look below at what those two have been doing, they have been loading up truck number 3, trailer number 7726. It is currently loaded with 39,000 liters of clay. What's going to happen is once they fill this truck up, they're automatically going to start filling this other truck that's waiting, and they'll do so with any other trucks that have arrived on site. So whenever I'm ready to send this out, now I could send this out with an empty trailer, I could send it out with a half full trailer, I could send it out with a completely full trailer. There's no restrictions on that. You can send it anytime you want. And so with that, we're going to wrap things up. Just wanted to give you guys a quick view of what was being released in the past week in FSN. This will be the first of many first look videos to come. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope if you haven't tried it yet or aren't in FSN, it has excited you a little bit. It is a little bit of spreadsheet nerdery, but that's the kind of players we appeal to here at FSN in a large capacity. And if you're a spreadsheet nerd, you will absolutely love the potential in FSN. It's already awesome, and it's gonna be way better. So come on over, give it a try, tell them Hans sent you, and we'll see you guys for the next video.